Hello everyone, it's me, Earphoneus Fanaticus again. Recently, I was offered a free earphone from keephifi.com, an online retailer of a huge repertoire of Chinese hi-fi IEMs, headphones, cables, etc. I didn't have to pay for the earphone, but in exchange they wanted me to do an honest review of it. Big shoutouts to Vivian for arranging this relatively rare opportunity for me. It always boggles my mind that even a small channel like mine could receive multiple review offers from SpinFit, an absolutely huge name in the IEM circle, but never could I imagine that I would even be offered to review earphones. This opens up yet another new chapter on my channel and I'm genuinely grateful for it. But before we get to the unboxing, there's something I want to be absolutely clear about. I will have all of you viewers and subs know that the sole reason why I get these offers is because companies appreciate how honest and exhaustive my reviews are, and they send me their products because they actually want to know what I have to say, what things I like and what things I absolutely hate. I also actually invest a lot of time in testing out products, as well as double checking or even triple checking my claims to make sure that they're as accurate and fair as possible in terms of my personal experience. Honesty is a core value of this channel, which I'm sure is also the reason why you guys still stick around despite my exceedingly low upload count. I don't plan on ever selling out, and I'll say what I have to say. Nobody can change that. Period. Anyway, back to the unboxing. Keep Hi-Fi is actually based in Shenzhen, and that definitely explains why I was able to get this package after just a day or so. With my trusty Swiss Army knife, I open up the delivery box, and here we have the BL01 from WGZBLON, or BLON, or BLON as people usually call it. Again, Chi-Fi brands with their gibberish names. There's the name again in case your oral decryptor failed you, with the brand slogan, "Music and dreams let music burn" underneath. I like the enthusiasm, but I think they could have worked on the grammar a bit more, especially when Keep Hi-Fi and the many Chi-Fi brands they carry want to extend their market reach to a wider audience. The box is just black and white all around, which I think is okay for cutting down the cost, especially when said cost cut down is reflected in the price, and the box is still sturdy enough. Looking at you again, Massdrop. The full specs are shown on the back, and feel free to pause the video to have a good look if you are interested. All the terms are properly translated, so even if you don't understand Chinese, you can still understand everything. Though I have to point out, the font sizes and the capitalization are a bit all over the place. Ohm is superscripted, wearing mode is in all caps, while units and diaphragms are capitalized like proper nouns for some reason. Very, very messy. But moving on, the earphone comes in two colorways, which are light color and white steel. Actually, they are more like gunmetal and mirror, but okay. You can get them with or without mic, and I opted to have no mic on my cable. There's a layer of plastic on the box, and removing it allows me to gain access to the internals. Here, I have to praise BLON for the sturdy packaging despite the earphone's price. Here, we can already see the earpieces, and as mentioned just now, I opted for the gunmetal colorway, which is basically just a darker version of the mirror colorway. There's a box below the earpieces, but we'll check that out later. I tried really hard to pick the earpieces out, but they're both lodged in super tight. I then took out the whole assembly thinking it would be a lot easier to pop them out from behind, and as you'll see very soon, getting the earpieces out was still super tough. I don't mind how securely packaged the earpieces are, but I do worry about leaving scratch marks as a result of repeated attempts of trying to get the earpieces out. They could be introduced when the earpieces are first packaged as well, so I don't think this is exactly ideal. Anyway, you'll see me struggle with this for a while, so I want to take this opportunity to explain why this specific model was sent to me. I was actually provided with two choices, one being the one I'm trying to get out now, and the other one being the KB Ear Lark. After seeing some images of that earphone, I knew it's just not something I wanted to check out. There are a lot of Chi-Fi earphones that use the same design, acrylic shell in a bunch of random colors paired with a faceplate in a custom-like profile. Oh, and don't forget the obligatory earwax guard. In my mind, it's just yet another copycat, and quite frankly, I think such design is kinda cheap and hideous looking. But looking at the BL01's housing and driver, I was immediately drawn. While the KB Ear Lark uses one BA and one dynamic driver, The BL01 only uses one single 10mm dynamic driver that's made of biology fiber. I think they meant cellulose, and this reminds me of the VSonic GR07, which I've heard good things about for a very long time but never got to trying. The Lark also features a 10mm biological fiber driver, but I don't know if they are the same. Still, I'm only interested in how that driver performs, and I don't want there to be a BA to taint my first experience with such a driver, so I went with the BL01. Physical design of the casing also drew me to this earphone. It's in kind of a bean shape with a really rounded medial side that always reminds me of an egg. I don't think I've seen this design in other Chi-Fi, or at least it is less common than the copycat custom-like shells, so I do dig this one more. It still does feature an earwax guard though. Chi-Fi brands just love their mesh guards. Near the nozzle, there's a front pod that supposedly weakens the bass by letting the air pressure leak out when the driver moves. Going back to the faceplate, we can see the full brand and model name as well as left-right side indication, none of which I actually enjoy looking. Still, the black reflective appearance is very attractive indeed, and in hand they feel sturdier and heftier than the Tin Hi-Fi T4 which I reviewed recently. The BL01 uses a protruding 2-pin connector, and this is actually my first time seeing such a design in person despite having known its existence for a very long time. Let's check out the box that was below the earpieces. Opening it up reveals a bunch of accessories. There are 2 bags of ear tips which I'll get to in just a sec, and there's also a cable to nobody's surprise. The ear guide is the heat-molded type, and the 2 sides have surprisingly good evenness and curvature. The Y-split looks quite substantial, but there's no choker for some reason. The cable is soft, lightweight, and feels tightly knit. It terminates with a small right-angled 3.5mm connector with the brand's name up top. The way this cable feels is actually very similar to my Unique Melody Mavericks stock cable. Aside from the connectors and the Y-split, everywhere else feels identical. There's also a product manual which does reveal some interesting background story of the brand. It's all in Chinese though, so you will have to wait for my review for the translation. The manual is not specific to this earphone though, and instead it's probably just a generic manual included in all of their products. There's also this cloth bag that feels quite cheap and rough. You can see the brand's logo, but it's actually just stamped on with a chop, but at least it cinches up tightly. Let's talk about the tips for a second. There are 2 types of tips, one is pointier while the other one is more rounded. Both of them are absolute dust magnets, and the reason why I say this is because they both came with dust stuck to them, and it's not that easy to wipe it off. Very sloppy indeed. Another thing I don't like is that the pointier one is actually modeled to have a SpinFit-like mechanism, but I can't find any mention of SpinFit being included in the package. I also don't recognize it as any of the SpinFit models, even though I have most, if not all, the single flange models courtesy of the company. So, disappointingly, we see yet another example of Chinese plagiarism. Why? Just why? Oh right, Chinese brands. Finally, I want to end this video by showing how the cable connects to the earpieces. The 2-pin connection is actually very nicely implemented, very secure and tight, and from initial testing, I don't get any connection issues. I would say however that I wished the curvature of the ear guide wasn't so drastic. This is just a personal preference, not exactly a complaint. Anyway, that's it for the unboxing. Thank you once again to Vivian from Keep Hi-Fi for sending these over for testing. I actually do have a lot of nice things as well as a few criticisms regarding this pair, so definitely stay tuned for the review. And hopefully I'll see you all again.